RingConn brings in the third generation of their Smart Ring series, no subscriptions, promises for massive health tracking upgrades, and now a much more premium feeling overall. But is it finally prime time for Generation 3? Let's inspect. Hi, nice to see you. I'm the TechMishka, and this here is a very new product, and I know a lot of you have been eagerly waiting for this particular video because this is one of the biggest moments for the smart ring industry right now. Over time, RingConn has positioned itself as probably the strongest alternative to Oura, but without forcing its users into a monthly subscription. And that alone already makes a lot of people pay attention. In this video, I want us to properly analyze the experience together. Not just specs and marketing slides, but actual usage, actual tracking, strengths, compromises, and so on. Because with wearables, especially with smart rings, the question is never just what features does it have? The real question is, does this thing disappear in your life and quietly improve it without becoming annoying? And I think RingConn Generation 3 gets very close to that ideal. Jumping straight into the health tracking, because this is of course the core reason why smart rings exist in the first place. The big new feature here is a 24/7 vascular trend monitoring. It looks like the system uses your initial blood pressure input as a reference point, so the ring has a baseline to work from. And right now, this is still a very fresh feature, so while I can already see trends and changes appearing in the app, I'll definitely need more time before I can give you a truly meaningful long-term verdict about its reliability and usefulness. Currently, this is the only smart ring that provides effortless, long-term vascular health management, and you can use these graphs and long-term analysis as a reference for your vascular health trends, helping you pay attention to body changes earlier and potentially catching degradation of your health even before symptoms become obvious. At the moment of making the video, this feature is present only with the RingConn Generation 3, and you won't find such a feature with Oura Ring 4 or Ultrahuman Air as an example. Apart from it, if your goal is to track heart rates, sleep, recovery, and general wellness without wearing a smartwatch all day long, smart rings are probably the best form factor currently available. And concerning heart rate accuracy specifically, I'm very happy with the progress RingConn have made here. This is by far the biggest leap I've seen from them thus far. During sleep and relaxed moments, the accuracy is already getting very close to mainstream fitness trackers. In many cases, it aligns surprisingly well with the input from the Whoop 5, reacts quickly to heart rate changes, works reliably as a 24/7 companion, and overall feels significantly more mature than previous generations. Of course, it still samples data every several minutes rather than continuously like some watches do, but for a wellness-focused ring, the results are already very solid. Stress tracking is also present, and it's good. The algorithm combines HRV data together with body activity to estimate how much stress your body experiences throughout the day. And I want to clarify this because many people misunderstand it. This is not necessarily measuring mental stress. It's more about physiological strain and recovery. Sleep tracking is another major highlight. RingConn continued the trend from Gen 2, and the ring can detect sleep apnea. Also, the 4 main sleep stages are detected, and I think this is the first time where I'm seeing signs that a competitor is getting truly close to the level of Oura Ring 4's accuracy. The good news first, it is extremely accurate at identifying when I fall asleep and when I wake up. Also, awake time detection is very impressive. In fact, there are nights where RingConn Generation 3 is actually slightly more accurate than the Oura Ring 4 about detecting awake periods, something I didn't expect to say anytime soon. I do still have one minor remark. If I wake up during the night and I spend some time reading a book, sometimes the ring thinks I fell asleep again slightly earlier than I actually did. But even with that, the overall accuracy is extremely impressive. This is no longer good for a smart ring, this is simply good sleep tracking. You also get SpO2 monitoring, body temperature tracking, activity indicators, and trend analysis. Over time, the app builds baselines and warns you about unusual deviations or potential signs your body might not be operating optimally. Workouts are the next section to explore, and here we have RingConn making another big leap forward. Gen 3 already feels significantly more seamless. Every single time I go out for a walk, the activity now automatically appears in my list, and I really like that. However, there's still a major limitation. The workouts list remains surprisingly basic. Right now, you can only track things like walking, running, cycling, rowing machine exercises, and yoga. Unfortunately, workout heart rate tracking itself isn't fully there yet either. For example, here's some football session data where I triggered the indoor running activity manually. The HR graph is not very reassuring. It's somewhat comparable to what Oura Ring 4 would provide, but once you compare it against devices like Whoop or the Garmin Fenix 8 line, you quickly realize that smart rings still have limitations during intense physical activity. So yes, a major progress, even a massive progress, but for serious workout analytics, watches and chest straps are still ahead. Build quality though? Very impressive. The unboxing experience feels very similar to the Gen 2 and the Gen 2 Air, and before ordering, I absolutely recommend trying the sizing kit first. And not just for 5 minutes, wear the dummy ring for at least a couple of days, because depending on your activity, sleeping habits, hydration, and even eating, you may realize that another size actually fits much better. Here I have the brushed silver version, and I love it. The texture is extremely similar to the finish I use on my other smart ring as well. And this is actually important because smart rings experience heavy abuse in real life. I use equipment, tools, sports gear constantly, and the only time I usually remove the ring is while cooking because cleaning afterwards becomes annoying. The brushed silver finish holds up surprisingly well over time. Just as comparison, here is the Oura 4 brushed silver after almost a year of usage versus a black ring worn for maybe 6 months. RingConn Gen 3 also happens to be one of the most impressive rings about the category slimness. Just 2.3mm thick and extremely lightweight. You can also clearly see where most of the sensors are positioned internally. Personally, I still prefer having some kind of a small external bump or orientation mark so that I can instantly align the sensors correctly if the ring twists around the finger, but maybe that's a very niche complaint and probably not something most users will really care about. And regarding the inner bumps themselves, no worries there, I never really felt them during normal use. The tech inside is also very impressive. RingConn still refuses to disclose the exact sensors used, and even though I researched this a lot, I still couldn't identify the precise hardware. But we do know there's a PPG sensor, we do know that there is a temperature sensor, a 3-axis accelerometer, and now finally a vibration motor, which is used occasionally. That's right, the ring can now vibrate to alert you about certain conditions like low battery, sudden health changes, and so on. Not for notifications yet. The vibration itself is tiny, it's rather weak, sometimes it's actually difficult to feel. I'd say it's comparable, maybe slightly stronger than what I recently tested with the Dreamy ring, but considering how absurdly small the batteries inside these devices are, the fact that they managed to integrate a vibration motor at all is already impressive. And then we get to the battery life, honestly ridiculous, in the best possible way. Charging takes around 1 hour, discharging close to 2 weeks in many scenarios. And what I really appreciate is that the app gives you very precise remaining battery estimations, which helps a lot when planning whether you're going to need to carry the charger during trips with you or not. Combined with the charging case, the total endurance goes beyond 150 days before the case itself needs recharging. That's simply excellent execution. The software is also significantly improved. RingConn has clearly invested serious effort and resources here. The graphs look beautiful now, the insights page is excellent, and the amount of presented information is also on par. But the logic behind the UI still feels a little inconsistent. Let me explain. For example, this is the sleep page. It already shows a detailed sleep summary, but then if I tap here, suddenly I get another sleep summary page with partially duplicated information and partially different data. Feels fragmented, And the same thing happens if I go over some of the other sections. So if I open activities, we can see the activity hours, the calories burned, steps, standing time, exercise intensity, beautifully grouped information. Yet, ironically, I still cannot directly start a workout from here. Instead, I need to go into this Discover section. So while the amount of data and insights is excellent, the user experience consistency still needs some refinement. There also are some nice extras on top. You can create weekly plans, follow goals, customize health reminders, and explore quite a lot of settings. And RingConn also offers something called Care Plus, which is basically a Ring insurance. At a pretty accessible price, you become eligible for replacement in case of accidental damage or problems. Considering how wearables are used daily and exposed to constant abuse, I actually think this one is worth considering. Before the summary, let me quickly talk about the drawbacks because there definitely are some. I already mentioned the UI inconsistency issues, and there's also no Strava integration, which feels like a missed opportunity in 2026. For a product that is otherwise becoming more and more mature, the limited sports list feels strangely underdeveloped. So yes, the overall package is impressive, but there still are clear areas where RingConn needs to continue evolving. And here, the conclusion becomes surprisingly simple. While I'm still a very big fan of Oura overall, and you've probably noticed that in many of my previous videos, the RingConn Generation 3 now makes it difficult to justify Oura's paid subscription model, because RingConn Generation 3 basically does everything that most people realistically need. In many cases, it matches the results so closely, while also bringing some new valuable additions like the vascular trend monitoring. The build quality is now very close, materials quite similar, and of course the RingConn model is lighter. The battery life is class-leading by far, and the overall software maturity has massively improved over time. So the RingConn Generation 3 is a very easy recommendation, excellent execution, and with the exception of workouts, I currently believe this is probably the best overall wellness tracker you can wear on a finger right now. But I do have one important question for long-term RingConn users watching this video. How has your battery aged over time? Because as an Oura Ring 4 user myself, mine actually had to be replaced after just 1 year of use. And big thanks to RingConn for sending over a review unit. Pre-orders of the Gen 3 are already open on their website with limited time 10% discount, and the official launch is scheduled for May 29th across all channels. So still some time to catch up. And as always, I really hope this review helped you to understand whether this is the right product for your own lifestyle and expectations. My usual reminder here, I know reviews like this one can make tech feel extremely exciting, but before buying anything, ask yourself whether this product will actually improve your daily life and whether you truly need it. That's it for today's video. Thanks a ton for watching, subscribe for more thorough experience-based reviews, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.